Greetings in the name of Jah Rastafari. Welcome to February 2025. Wasn't that the most exciting 10 days ever? From January 10th till the end of January was crazy exciting. And what a month February will be as we aim for March the 4th, State of the Union. 107 says that this will be Trump's real first day in office. Well, March the 5th he's referring to. But everything that he was doing up until that point was just to get the ship of state back in operation again and moving ahead, trying to fix the leaks. And speaking of 107, there's been far less Juan sightings, way less interviews. He's been really busy too, trying to patch some of these holes, and he focuses a lot to do with on the finance side of things. He's Trump's right-hand man. And he did drop one really good video though with Nino just this past week. And I wanted to expand on two of the topics that he shares. One is about the pallets of cash, and the other one is about the Trump effect of the rallies, all about the rallies. And I'll explain that and break it down. But pallets of cash, speaking of cash, Cash Patel, not pallets of cash, Cash Patel. Wasn't that an exciting confirmation hearing with the Senate? Cash Patel ate them for lunch. It was just fabulous to watch. All of the confirmations were fun to watch, but Cash Patel is a rock star, and that one was really, really fun. And but all these confirmations must be complete before we can play Juan's favorite song, 2020, it's not over yet. And that is so true. By the way, I failed to mention in my last video that the evidence bringing forward on the 2020 election fraud, theft, etc., that the evidence will be released to the public, and that there are 72 countries that have been hacked. There's 72 countries with a rigged election system. Now, disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I have no inside knowledge of any of these things that I share. It's entirely speculation, and it's just for people to think about. That's, you know, the main purpose of why I make these videos. So Juan tells us of separate eyewitness accounts of warehouses filled with pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of cash. And he says it multiple times. He's talking about hundreds of pallets. This is really crazy. And they're all ziplocked or, you know, wrapped, shrink wrapped, and then they're in the bundles. So what it is that there's $100 million of $100 bills. That's 1 million individual $100 bills. And that weighs 2,200 pounds, or it's 1 ton. So you couldn't even pick it up with a half-ton truck. You'd need a bigger truck to pick up a pallet. And so Juan's talking about thousands of these pallets, or hundreds of them at the very least. And they're in the US. And the reason 107 knows about this threat is because he was involved in collapsing the ruble in what he calls the Third World War, which was the Cold War between the United States and USSR. So he was involved when the ruble went all the way to zero. And that's what the deep state are going to try and use, the same tactic in the United States. We just don't know exactly how, and we don't know exactly when. But a simple AI search on Perplexity shows that there are 23,522 pallets of US cash in circulation as of January 2025. So I have personally never seen a pallet of cash, but I know people who have seen them. You know, with Invest Offshore, I meet a lot of interesting people, and I'm privileged to have met people that have dealt with pallets of cash. And however, they're very difficult to deposit the cash because all the money's in sequential order. And you have to have an anti-money laundering certificate to prove that it's not proceeds of crime. And it almost always is proceeds of crime, having a pallet of cash. How did you get this pallet of cash? So KYC laws, that stands for Know Your Customer, are so strict that everyone involved with depositing any sort of cash like this has to know exactly where the source of funds is. And of course, when you have a pallet, how are you supposed to know where it came from? So, you know, we've run into this before. It's really difficult to deal with these pallets. In Canada, the TD Bank has to pay $3 billion in fines to settle money laundering for drug cartels. So that's a known fact. And Canada is so busted. Anyway, and I won't go down that rabbit hole. It's just too dangerous, too fraught with problems. So that rabbit hole costs extra. And but Canada's so busted, you know, in so many different ways, and it's all gonna come out. So I don't worry about any of this tariff thing. It's good. We need this discussion. Everybody needs to say, wake up a little bit here. What the heck's going on? But Trump continues the slow, relentless trolling. He has this one account, Papi Trumpo, which is Il Donaldo Trumpo, it says, but at Papi Trumpo. And he's admitted it's his account on X. Every Sunday that account shows a picture of him on his one knee praying, and it says God is good. And ain't that the truth? God is so good. This is so fun. Another theme of 107 is about the importance of the popular consensus of the American public. Now, Juan has talked about this many times. We have to have this consensus of 80% plus, 80 plus. So anything over 80, it needs to be 81 or above to avoid civil war. And so Trump, the mandate that he had when he won the election, it was a record. There never has been a political campaign in human history to win the hearts and minds of so many people. He's even flipped people with severe acute TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. He was able to flip some of them even, hardcore ones. But here's why he won the popular vote, the Electoral College, and all battleground states. So he got this amazing mandate, and he's putting it to work. It's because he conducted over 900 rallies to an average crowd of 5,600 people, where he spoke on an average of 1 hour and 38 minutes without a teleprompter. So he's free-form stand-up comedy. That's what Joe Rogan says. He's a stand-up comedian. But altogether, that represents that he's had over 5 million guests at his rally to hear his ideas for 1 hour and 38 minutes or more. And then top that off, his brilliant son Barron suggests to him he should go on podcasts. And some say that was his real key, because he reached an even larger audience with a lot of the same message. And Joe Rogan couldn't believe the energy Trump had and the endurance, let alone all the truth that he just blasted out all over the world. It was amazing. But just in 2024 alone, Trump had over 364,000 guests. It's a very conservative number, by the way. I chopped it way down. But imagine that. 340,000 guests just in 2024. But most politicians say one thing to please their voters, and then they do another thing. And that is not the case with Donald Trump. Promises made, promises kept. And with that, we'll say we're going to forward in this generation triumphantly. Thank you for watching.